Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior. I'm gonna talk to you guys about something that I think is a really big problem, both for myself within the Asian man, Black woman community, and just period as a Black woman. I already know you guys are gonna attack me and kill me. I'm not even gonna look at my likes versus dislike bar. I don't really care at this point. I noticed that whenever I talk about anything that's real, it does two things. So people get really happy because they're like, oh my god, somebody's talking about this. I have answers to my question. And then people also get upset because they don't want to hear the truth. And if you're looking for someone who's just going to sugarcoat everything and that's not going to be direct with you, my channel is not the one for you to watch. I'm going to speak from my own experience and tell you how I feel and why I do and give my own advice. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's simple. You're gonna have to excuse me. I know my eyes are red. I'm honestly stressed out and I'm a bit tired, but I'm just gonna get right into it. I do not like Asian men. I do not prefer Asian men over Black men, and I don't prefer Asian men over any kind of man. And you're probably like, what? Isn't your boyfriend Asian? Yes, my boyfriend isn't just Asian, he's Japanese. Asian is a very broad, big term. I also do not fetishize and prefer Japanese men. And I really wish that you guys would do the same. And I'm going to explain why I don't. I'm going to come to you from a very honest point per se. I'm going to put myself out there and explain that I can relate to you. I'm not just trying to talk like I'm bigger and better than you because I'm already in a interracial relationship. I'm going to explain to you why I feel the way that I do and why you should too. One of the biggest things that I constantly see women that are inside of this Asian man, Black woman community type thing is that you will see that both races, but more so Black women, will claim that they like Asian men because Black men always call them ugly for being dark skinned, or they're not appreciated by their own race, or Asian men are this, or they're that, or they have money, or they take care of me. Whatever the case is, all of these stupid stereotypes. And it's like, do you really think all Asian men are this way? By that dumb standard, you might as well say that all Black guys have huge dicks and they're all really strong and muscular and they all look like Michael B. Jordan. Just like how you have your K-pop guy fascination and you imagine this tuxedo mask like guy, that is not what normal Asian men are like. These are celebrities, those are TV shows, they're comic books, it's fantasy, it's not real life, and they're stereotypes. Asian men are still men. White men are still men. Hispanic men are still men. It doesn't matter who you date or where they are from, they're all men at the end of the day. And to be honest, the joke is on you. Because if you actually were to live in Asia, you will realize that they will arguably treat you worse than your own kind is and or does. I get really angry, like racist messages from Asian guys all the time just by telling them basic stuff. I literally just had a message today from a guy that was Korean, and he asked me to go out to karaoke with him, and I told him that I didn't know him like that yet, and he asked me where did I live, and I told him I wasn't going to have sex with him, because obviously here in Japan, if somebody's really, concerned about where you live, they're not asking you anything about yourself, they quickly want to meet with you, they're trying to video chat with you, there's a 95% chance he wants pictures of you, he's going to screenshot his phone to fap off to later, and he's trying to sleep with you at your house, have a one-night stand. I had a guy that stalked the crap out of me for like a week because he asked me to meet with him. He was this punk rock-like guy back in Tokyo, and I thought I was gonna go, and I told him about 2 hours before we were supposed to hang out. Mind you, I was going to meet him at his closest station that I couldn't go, and the guy lost it. He started texting me nonstop every day. He messaged me, he spammed me with messages on Instagram. He commented on all of my photos. He kept calling me like a fat black bitch and a pig and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, so if I look like a pig to you, then does that mean you're into bestiality then? Because you were just calling me cute the other day. So now that I say I can't hang out with you, even although I told you in advance, oh, that's the thing. So this guy, he actually went to the location anyway and then started freaking out and calling me 100 times. And I'm like, I told you to stay at home and not to leave. And he insisted on leaving and left anyway and then called me once he got there. He was fucking crazy. I can literally like do a million story times on the crazy guys that I met. So I'm just gonna narrow it all down into this one video and just tell you in a nutshell. I'm not trying to say that all Japanese people or that all Asian men are bad. I've actually had more racist and ignorant messages from people who are not Japanese but Korean and Chinese. I've been called a monkey, I've been called a pig, I've been called black bitch, all kind of, super racist, ignorant stuff for not saying anything racist to them, but simply for saying that I don't want to have sex with you, or that I have a boyfriend, or I'm not interested. And they will quickly, hit you back with super racist prejudice stuff. And it's like, okay, now if I were to do this back to you, then I would be racist if I talked about your eyes, or if I talked about your penis size, or anything like that. And so really, it's a test for me, because I have caved in and I've sent racist stuff and I had to unsend the message. And I was like, that speaks a lot about me. If when someone says something prejudiced towards me, I go back with the same thing. I'm a sensitive person, and I'm not gonna lie, I've literally almost cried from people sending me really hateful stuff. For example, even the videos that I have that are still up now about me complaining about catcalling and whatnot, and things like that, I actually left them up for that reason, because it's been a test for me. Those videos have almost all dislikes, but I don't care. I want to get my word out there. That is really a huge problem. I feel like men in Asia have a really hard time understanding the fine line between, and I want to say fine line, they don't know how to talk to women. They treat you like shit, and specifically women who are foreign. They act like you're a giant, prostitute, like a blow-up doll or something like that. And even if you are, you never have the right to talk to somebody, disrespectfully like that, or to ever put their hands on that person. And so that really just makes me so angry and frustrated, and it's hilarious because they don't think that they're racist. It's so fucking funny. And it's like, you want to know what, let me show you my screenshots. I'm gonna add them at the end of this video. And it's like, what do you expect for me to do? So because you hit on me, I have to have sex with you, or I have to go hang out with you even after I tell you that I have a boyfriend? That's literally all I will say. In fact, normally the first time anyone DMs me on Instagram or you message me online, I will instantly say to the person that I have a boyfriend. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend, look at me, but I want to let you know so I'm not wasting your time. Because let's be real, if you did not think I was attractive, you would not have added me online, you would not have messaged me on Instagram. Why me when there's hundreds of thousands of other people? Even if it's because I'm a foreigner, okay, there's millions of other foreigners here in Japan. Why did you message me? It's because you thought I was attractive. And 99.9% of the messages that I get, what's the first thing that a guy will say to you? Oh, kawaii. Or if they're Korean or Chinese, you're so cute, something like that. And then of course you reject them, no matter how nice it is, which I always do. Then I become a bitch, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm a pig, I'm whatever. It's like, okay. I have pictures of my boyfriend all over my Instagram, and he's even on my Tinder account. So there isn't even really any valid reason for someone to not know that I'm in a relationship. But because people don't always read what I have to say or look at every photo, apparently, I always let them know anyway. But that's my point. So if you're trying to run away from black guys and you think that Asian men are so much better for whatever garbage reason that you've told yourself, you are really delusional and you're fooling yourself. They are a million times worse, if you will, if you push their buttons. And it's not everyone, but again, I would say the majority. There are people who are not prejudiced here, but you have to weed those out. My boyfriend, for example, is not. I would say my exes have not been. But once again, you most certainly will meet a handful, possibly a lot of people here who are, and they don't come off as prejudiced at first until you push their buttons and reject them. Then they'll show you their true colors, and that's a very scary reality for you. I feel like for the most part I've developed a pretty good system for determining who I'm going to reply to their messages, because normally if a guy messages me and I have a feeling that he likes me, or that he's a creep, or he doesn't have a profile picture, I automatically just block them on every app. I don't waste my time trying to ask, do you have a profile picture? Who are you? How old are you? Things like that, or asking what they're looking for. If it becomes clear to me, or if it, presumably is, I will simply do myself the favor and just block you. So I always wonder, for the guys that I do end up messaging and talking to, I wonder if this guy would have sent me something racist if I told him, I'm not gonna have sex with you, or if you didn't have a profile picture. Like, I can't really explain it, but you know what I mean? It's a really scary thing to think of. And I will even give white guys I don't know what to call it, but praise for this, so to speak, for lack of a better word. I don't even deal with this with white guys. If I reject them, they move on and they don't care. And just like a lot of these girls that are fascinated and drooling over, and praying to God for this Asian bae, a lot of these guys who specifically fetishize over black women, they're ugly. And then even for the ones who aren't ugly per se, you should ask yourself, why does he like black women? And if you're smiling and giggling to yourself after they say, oh, I only like black women because of their features, I want a girl with big lips to suck my dick and a girl with a fat ass for me to stick my dick into, do you really just want to be a sex object to a man? You really shouldn't. I see girls getting ignored by guys and just being one night stands for guys and running around and just having sex with all these different men, and they think that that's cute. They think it's funny. They just want to get pregnant and have a half Japanese baby or whatever your personal thing is. Why would you want to have such little respect for yourself? Don't you want a man that really loves you? And I'm not saying that you can't find this with an Asian man, but I am saying have standards for yourself. Don't embarrass yourself out here. So my point in a nutshell is, there is no perfect race of men. All of these half Japanese, half black babies are not cute. Everyone just wants to have a mixed kid. They want to have this Asian boyfriend. And that's stupid too, because a Vietnamese guy does not look or act like a Japanese guy. And a Japanese guy does not look or act like a Chinese guy. And a Chinese guy does not look or act like a Korean guy. So the list just goes on and on and on and on. And it's one thing for you to find yourself attractive to specific features, but I find that a lot of the women in these communities, they just throw themselves at anybody who is Asian. They don't care how short you are, how tall you are, how fat, how skinny, whether you have a job or not, how old you are. They just want an Asian boyfriend or an Asian husband. And that's really scary, really creepy, and it's a fetish and it's not normal. Have morals for yourself. Have standards. Don't chase after people's husbands, after their boyfriends. Don't be a homewrecker. Have some class. And don't just take my word for it. Look at all of these groups they have for Asian men and black women to meet each other. They are generally disastrous. You have all of these black women that show up, a few Asian guys, and the women are just fighting over them like Neanderthals. And it's like, why do this to yourself? You're making a fool out of yourself. These guys, I won't say all of them, but a lot of these guys are just looking for someone easy to have sex with. They know how desperate you are. And they probably feel the same way too, because for them, they feel like they're rejected by the Asian women and the white women, and for you feel like you're rejected by black men and white men, even although that's not entirely true, but you get what I'm saying. And with that said and done, I see so many people making a fool out of themselves, chasing after just anyone they can find. They don't care if they're married, if they're in a relationship. They just want to have sex with an Asian guy. They just want to have that relationship, and it's really sad. So I guess what I'm really just trying to say is, because there's good and bad within every race, and despite these fantasy stories about, oh, black guys always treat me bad, black guys always say this, if you haven't had good experiences with black guys and they talk down on you because of your color or because of your weight or because of whatever about you, oh, sweetheart, you are going to have a very fun time if you ever move to Asia or if you ever meet his family, because you will probably deal with a whole lot more and a whole lot worse, depending on how real you are with yourself. Of course, if you're just going to come over here and just gonna say it how it is and be a whore and just have sex with everyone, say yes to everything, you probably will never experience anything. But try nicely saying, no, I'm not interested, or I'm in a relationship, or I don't know you, I'm not gonna have sex with you. Watch how quickly that turns racist. So yeah, there's some really crazy people here. There's really good people too, but there's people that are, really crazy and racist. So again, I will never ever ever say that I have a thing for Asian men, because to be honest, it's a challenge. You're dealing with language barriers, cultural differences, and a ton of them. And some things will truly just get entirely lost in translation, where you cannot translate, you cannot explain. You just have to accept that we think and do things differently. And that is a very tough cookie, to chew on or peel to swallow, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be hard. And you're really making a fool out of yourself if you really believe that Asian guys are, going to treat you so much better than whatever. You can find a good guy, you can find a good boyfriend, a good husband, but you're being stupid if you're going to label the entire race as being this golden race of golden men or golden women or whatever, because that's not true. If you found someone that's good that happens to be Asian, good for you. I did too. But just recognize it's that person and not the entire race. Another scary thing that I see, and sad thing, is that I see a lot of these girls putting up with stuff that they would never do with a black or a white guy. For example, lack of communication, him not calling or texting you back, and instead you're going to write a whole paragraph on Reddit asking if it's normal instead of saying, okay, apparently this guy is cheating on me, or being like, oh, he just texts 30 other girls good morning and he never has time to date me, he's always busy, but oh, it's normal, he's Japanese or he's whatever race. And it's like, accept things for what they are. Would you be okay with that if you were a black guy? No, you wouldn't. You're making exceptions because of his race, and that's really silly and stupid once again. And on top of that, it's really dumb. You'd rather be with a guy that's unattractive, that isn't your type, isn't what you want, just because you want to show off that you have an Asian boyfriend, or just to show off that you in the future you'll have mixed kids. And like I said, all of these guys are not cute. All of these mixed babies are not cute. I know you guys could say, oh, babies are off limits. I'm being real here. It's the truth. So again, I would be a hypocrite if I were to tell you, oh, don't date Asian guys. My last 2 ex-boyfriends were Japanese. I am currently in a long-term relationship with a Japanese man. I would be a huge hypocrite. That's not my point in this video. I'm simply saying I do not fetishize over Asian men. I do not like Japanese men. I like men. And if you happen to be Japanese, I will date you. If you happen to be Korean, I will date you. I do not care. I don't care if you happen to be white, black, whatever you happen to be, and you should be the same way too. Again, it's one thing to find yourself attracted to certain features that may be more common within a particular race. It's a whole nother thing to be stupid and desperate and just, go after anything that happens to be Asian. It's really sad if that's the way that your mindset is, because you're going to end up hurt and you're going to attract bad men and have bad relationships. And keep in mind that your kids are not you. I know a lot of people want mixed kids because you can, make money off of them on YouTube and Instagram, etc. But the reality is your children will grow up and they will do their own thing. And just because your child is mixed does not mean that they're going to be cute. And people want, good hair. And it's like, okay, having a mixed kid does not automatically give your child 3-type hair. I've seen plenty of women here who are actually half Japanese, half African, and they actually have type 4 hair. So, and they have dark skin. So if you're trying to have a mixed baby because you hope that they're going to be light skinned and have good hair and all of these other dumb things, that's not love. And you should really question, reevaluate what you really want in life. Is everything just a matter of trying to prove to everyone else, hey, look, this is what I got. Look at my kids. Look at my husband. Don't you really want to have a good relationship and really feel loved? You should date people for who they are and not because of their race or where they come from. You cannot escape from racism. It's unfortunate, but it's true. There are people here that are 10 times more racist than anything that you've ever dealt with in your home country. So do not think that by coming to Japan, you're not going to deal, or coming to any Asian country, forget about even coming to Asia, dating an Asian man. Do not think that he does not necessarily have these thoughts inside of his mind, or that his family won't feel this way, or that his friends will accept you. You have to work on things yourself. If you are feeling sensitive about your appearance, or about your skin complexion, or your hair, or anything else, that is something that you have to work on and overcome. You are not going to find some Asian man that's just going to wipe away all of your problems. It's not going to work that way. And then think about how unhealthy that is. Because what happens if he leaves? You're going to go right back into your state of depression and desperation. And nobody wants that. And just as you have stereotypes for them, they have stereotypes for you. A lot of Asian guys think that most black women have, really big butts, they're very curvaceous, and that because of how their bodies are, that these girls are sexual animals. And that you're just gonna love having sex all the time, that you're gonna suck his dick so nasty and do all this crazy stuff for this guy. So he's not even looking at you as an actual woman. He doesn't see you as attractive. He only likes your body. And this is not everyone, but there's definitely a lot of people like this. I get messages from guys like this all the time, and this is without even having inappropriate pictures. They will literally message you and say, oh, like you look like you like sex. What the fuck does that mean? I'm wearing a diva cosplay. That makes me look like I like having sex wearing a costume? I literally had a picture where it was just my freaking face, and I still had guys messaging me, do you like sex? You look like you like sex. Oh, because I'm black? So please, if you do nothing else, nothing wrong with dating an Asian guy, just stop humiliating yourself and make sure that you actually like this man and that you don't like his race. Two different things. I get irritated with stuff that I see Japanese people do every single day. But because I like my man and my man does not do Japanese things per se, I love my boyfriend. My boyfriend does not represent all of Japan, so just because my relationship with him is good does not mean, oh my god, Japanese guys are the best thing in the world. No, I accept the fact that I'm in a good relationship. However, I have also dated other Japanese guys who were not good. I'm not gonna say, oh, all Japanese guys are bad because these guys did whatever. I have learned to recognize good for good and bad for bad. So accept the fact I found a good man. I don't like all men of this race, but I will date any man that's a good man. I can use myself for example. I am the first black woman that my boyfriend has ever dated. I don't even think he's ever had a crush on another black girl. And I actually asked him this. And he was like, I never even thought about that. That's the type of person that you want to be with. And the reason why is, like I said, you don't want to be with someone who is chasing after a specific race. Who will want to be with you if you're specifically chasing after guys who are Asian men? In fact, what you're doing is actually offensive to Asians because Asian men do not like calling themselves Asian unless they're in America or something. They call themselves by their nationality. I do not refer to myself as African. I'm African American. And if somebody calls me African, I correct them because I do not belong to Nigeria. I do not belong to Ghana, etc. I don't even really know where I came from. I know that I am of African descent, but I do not relate to their culture because I was born and raised in America, and I am over a quarter white and Asian. It's affected my appearance and how I act and look. So my point is quite simply, do not be desperate for a relationship with an Asian man, whether he's Asian American, Asian European, or he's Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Thai, whatever he happens to be. Make sure that you truly love the man that you are with. Don't do anything crazy, anything stupid, anything desperate. You want your relationship to be real. You don't want to ever get to the point where you're just dating someone because they are Japanese, or you're just putting up with this because he's Korean. They will treat you just as bad as brothers will. They will talk about you, they will talk about your complexion, etc. You might find a good guy, but you will also deal with a lot of them that say just as nasty of stuff. So if you're trying to run away from your problems within a black community and you think that Asian guys aren't going to say racist stuff to you like how white guys have in the past, well, they do. And whoever tells you otherwise is a lie. There's racism amongst all races of men. It's not a black and white exclusive thing. I know I made you guys angry, but again, I just wanted to give a real video, both, I guess, talking about my own experience. I'm going to post my rude messages at the end of this, and also just, I guess, put something out there for you girls. I see so many girls saying and doing embarrassing stuff all over the internet and just falling all over these guys, or people messaging me like, oh my god, how did you get a Japanese boyfriend? I want a Japanese boyfriend. I want an Asian man. I want an Asian bae. And it's like, I can't help you with that for two reasons. One, I live in Japan, and two, I didn't do anything special, stupid, or desperate. I just live in a country in which most of the men are Asian. I actually dated a Korean guy back in Chicago under similar circumstances. But that's that. You should never just date someone for their race. And the reason is not, to be politically correct, but because it's not love. You want someone who really loves you, and you should want to really love them. No race is perfect. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments down below, or you can send me a message by email. Feel free to disagree and argue with me. I reply to every comment if I can remember to do so, or if I see it. Sometimes you guys' comments get automatically sent to spam and flagged. Not sure why exactly, because sometimes they aren't, but whatever. That can't make everyone happy. I can only speak from my own experience and tell the truth. So again, thank you for watching. Bye.